Taking control of the car buying experience. Demand the most for your money. Here's the Car Buyer Advisor.
Today is nothing less than an extraordinary business in our community that we're proud to have on our show and endorse for your benefit. Please welcome back to the show Jeff Gillia, owner of Superglow Auto Body. Been here in Reno for a long, long time. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mitch.
I just shared, the automotive body shop industry as a whole, just like the car dealership part of our automotive industry, has just a real gaping hole in qualities between, average, mediocre, and extraordinary. I want to talk about some of the things that people might not know about their body shop until it was too late, how they could tell if a job was done right. So let's start with, if you had a repair before and you want to examine it, what you would look for. Let's start with maybe even the fit.
Yeah, well, I tell a lot of people the first thing they need to do is be comfortable with who they're using. Once they are comfortable, and they need to be brought in with every aspect of what's really going on their car. So when they do come back and look at their car after it's been repaired, they can look at the appearance when they walk up to it, of looking at the color. First of all, that's going to be sticking out the most, and also just their body lines and how everything's fitting. And they need to take a look at that, not just be told that things were just done.
Well, and let's talk about that. I mean, one of the things that, as a trained expert in the industry, praising cars, I'd walk up and I'd look at a car and looking for prior paint. There's some telltale signs. There's seams, whether or not they line up from bumpers to fenders. There's, hoods to fenders. There's all those lines that you should be able to run your finger down and feel that everything really feels flush and the tolerances appear the same as the factory side of the car.
Correct. And if it's something major, like, you had your front end basically redone, a new bumper, headlights, and a hood and a fender, then, they should open the hood and they should explain to you, hey, this is what this is what that is, and take a look at this. This was all replaced here, and then go from there. So you're actually looking at it. You might not deal with parts like this every day, but if it's shown to you and you look at it and it fits and shuts right, then you should be right. And that goes along with being comfortable with who you're using, because you need to trust these people. It is your money. It's your car.
Well, and I think even more important than that, which you would think that would be enough for people to take a moment and get some background on a business just before they take their car into them for body repair, it's their safety, Jeff. I mean, there's shops out there that just don't put them back right, and if there's another impact in that same area, their safety could be jeopardized or compromised.
We're putting wives and children and all kinds of family, different situations back in these cars. And for years, over 19 years that I've been doing this, I have to know that it's safe to put somebody in it. Can I put my child in it and drive to San Francisco and back? You betcha.
Well, again, the reason why we endorse you, that's, you're part of your business model of core values as an individual, and transfer that into how you own and operate your business. Mentioned a little bit about color. And color is a very complex. We talked about this.
It's huge. Color's huge.
It's so complex. We talked earlier about how would we even explain to somebody just the complexity of what it takes to have a proper color match. Many of our consumers, maybe not everybody, would walk up to a car and you look at it from one angle and it matches, and you look at it from another angle and you think, well, maybe it's just the sun's hitting it differently, but that's not what that is. If the two panels are no longer matching, there's things that go into that paint process that are complex.
That's what we call the face and the flop on any metallics. And the best way of describing that, I guess, would be the easiest for the consumer out there, is every car has a paint code. But just because it's a code doesn't mean if I make that, it matches perfectly. There's 5 or 6 alternates to that code. So if I put one, the most popular, I could have 5 alternates behind that. One could be green to the color, one could be blue to the color, one could be yellow to the color. And as a body shop, we have to do spray outs and match up panels, and that's why we blend also, just so the naked eye cannot see where we stopped and started.
Well, and, there's different degrees of not just the hue of the color scheme, but the toners that go into them, the density or size of the metallic, the quantity of the metallic that goes into it that causes one panel to look different from another.
Oh, yes. 3 different sizes of metallics. You got small, medium, and large, and that's just the way they cut it. And every paint manufacturer makes their metallic or buys their metallic a little bit different than somebody else, because that's why their colors look different, and that way.
And then the other thing, too, is I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but even the pattern in which the sprayer is spraying and laying that paint onto that panel can affect how the metallic lays onto the panel and how it refracts the light.
Well, it's all on preparation. So, like everything else in life, that if you really get down to things, if things are properly prepared, properly prepped, then when you do actually go to apply the paint, after you've matched your color, then things should go very easily, and you won't see sand scratches underneath the paint and different bubbles or holes. We have pinholes that we have to deal with quite often, stuff like that.
Well, and
imperfections.
Let's describe some of that. So if somebody had a prior repair right now, they're listening to our show and they want to know, well, how would I tell if that was a good one before I consume and use that shop again? Paint finishes is most of this is visible to the naked eye. If you take a minute, you get down at about a 45-degree angle, and you allow your eye to focus below the surface of the paint, that you would start to see things you talked about, like sand marks where it wasn't blocked well, or lint or dirt in the paint where a paint booth wasn't necessarily cleaned well before the paint was laid on. Or dirt or grit that's floating around in the air because they didn't wash the room and make it lint-free. Or fish eyes, that's the term that we call them in the industry, but you call them pinholes, where there's a bubble, it pops, and it leaves a small crater, and whether or not they're going to continue to put enough paint and then sand through those so that there's no fish eye left when they're buffing and polishing it. I mean, these are... Pardon me?
There is a difference between pinholes and fish eyes. Pinholes you have in the Bondo repair. You can get that by not mixing your Bondo properly or making it too hot when you apply it. And fish eyes is usually some kind of contamination that, like even when a diesel, when it comes out of the exhaust, it can leave fish eyes on the surface of different stuff. So you have to be very careful of what you're doing that way. And then our job is to match the texture of the paint, which is usually the clear coat, the last product that goes on your car, is to match it to what the rest of the car looks like. So we're actually supposed to bring it back to when you bought the car, basically. The whole car looked all one way. That's our job, is to bring it back to before.
Well, and I'll tell you, the reason why we endorse you, Jeff, is that you get the complexity and importance of taking that on when you're doing your job. Just what you mentioned, for folks that are not really, this isn't their field of expertise. That's why this show exists, is because it is ours, and it's why we have taken on educating our community on these subjects. You're talking about the texture of that paint when it's sprayed by a factory. There's still a variances in the top surface of that paint that you're trying to...
Orange peel and stuff, yeah.
Orange peel, exactly. And little peaks and valleys, and it just... If you get down at an angle, it's not like glass. Orange peel would be like looking at the side of an orange. It has, valleys and peaks on it. And your job is to...
Some we've seen look like a cantaloupe.
Yeah, exactly. And your job is to match that so that the blended, your repair matches the way the manufacturer sprayed that car. It's more than just, we put a panel on, we spray it, we buy the color by code, we put it on there, and here's your keys back. Your job is to make it appear to have never been in that collision in the first place, and you take that on. I really want our people to get it, that this isn't just that that's what it should look like. There are shops that do that for a living, that commit to that. Well,
if I make the finish too nice, it's going to stand out. You're going to say, "Oh, you had that repaired." But if I don't do the proper job, you're going to say, "Oh, that really doesn't look very good compared to the rest of it." So our job is to find that that medium spot to where everything kind of flows in with each other. So when you walk out of the car, you're going, what did you repair? And most people won't know, and that's what our job is.
Well, one of the other problems, you said it in the beginning, the most important decision that somebody should be making when they're choosing a body shop is feeling comfortable with the people that are owning and operating it. It should be their number one concern. And part of the reason why we can't stress that enough is there are many people in this industry, and I really, it's sad, but this is why our show has to exist for our community. There are many businesses in the automotive body shop that build estimates, get paid by the insurance company to replace parts that never hit the car.
Don't listen to your insurance company when they tell you what to do. You own your car. You control what you do every day. You eat 3 meals a day or whatever. You control what you do. So you own your car. You make the decision. So if the insurance company tries to tell you where to go to another shop, say, wait a minute, don't I have the right to pick? And they have to back down and said, yes, do you have a place that you would like to go? So feel free to tell them, because they actually work for you. You don't work for them. They'd love to tell you what to do, but that's not true.
Well, Jeff, I hope our listeners really get that you're passionate about their rights and what they're entitled to get as a consumer.
Yeah.
It's at the core of who you are and why we endorse you. Folks, if you're looking...
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions that people have out there, feel free to just give me a call. No big deal. We do it every day. This is what we do.
Well, for those of you that are maybe have one now that you need to get repaired, if you're looking for quality, business ethics, or reputation and integrity, you would want to see Jeff Gillia at Superglow Auto Body. Jeff, before we tell them how to get a hold of you, a quality business that does quality work is not afraid of offering and standing behind their work. You have one of the strongest warranties our industry has in the auto body repair industry.
Yes, when we stand behind everything we do 100%, so that allows me to give you a lifetime warranty on the vehicle that we just repaired for you for as long as you own it, for what we did to it.
That's Jeff Gillia, Superglow Auto Body. How can they see you?
They can call me at 329-4599, Monday through Friday, or they can come down to our shop, which is open Monday through Friday, 7 till 4:30. At 314 Sunshine Lane in Reno, right behind Mark Foreign Strike on Kitski.
That's Jeff Gillia, Superglow Auto Body. Thanks again for joining us, and thank you for your commitment to our show and our community.
Thank you, and everybody out there, have a safe weekend. God bless.